war's end, Marxist theorists had to confront the question, what had gone wrong? Antonio Gramsci in Italy and Georg Lukács in Hungary believed they had the answer. Gramsci and Lukács argued that Western culture had blinded the working class to its true Marxist class interests. Before a Marxist revolution could take place, Western culture had to be destroyed. In 1919, Lukács, who was considered the most brilliant Marxist theorist since Marx himself, asked, "Who will save us from Western civilization?" That same year, 1919, Lukács became Deputy Commissar for Culture in the Bolshevik Bela Kun government in Hungary, where he launched a program of cultural terrorism. As part of that program, Lukács introduced a radical sex education program into the Hungarian schools. Political correctness, as we know it, was already beginning to take form.
He tried to actually undermine the unity of the family, and that was one of the reasons that he tried to introduce sex education.
Laszlo Pastor, a leader in the Hungarian resistance against the communist takeover of Hungary after World War II, explains why children were targeted.
It's always much tougher to convert an adult, to do something what he was taught not to do.
The program left great residual effects on Hungary.
The only thing what we were permitted to accept as far as culture is concerned, what they were teaching, that was it. Free thinking was a very big sin.
The Bela Kun government lasted only a few months, in part because the Hungarian working class was outraged by Georg Lukács's assault on traditional Western culture.
That's the history. That's why they bring the historians in, to the big think tanks and to the State Department and to the United Nations and advisors to Obama. How did previous cultures go down the tubes? So if you want to go down the tubes, and that is the intention, remember, destruction of nationalism across the world. That's why they formed the Macy Group, and the president gave them the right to change forever American culture, because they thought it was too fascist. It might go the way that Hitler went after World War II. And they've been at it ever since, and for interdependence, etc. And so they literally have changed the whole world, your way of thinking, your way of being, and that's why they funded all these crazy groups to make sure that you literally will have nothing of the past to hold on to. And they just bypass the present generation and go for the young every time. Lenin said that was a strategy. And again, too, once a nation is coming to an end or an empire comes to an end, you have debauchery everywhere. It was called debauchery. You have complete devaluation of human life, massive sexual promiscuity of all the most bizarre types. It keeps getting more bizarre all the time. And then the elite themselves, or the managerial class, and previous, like Greece and Rome, didn't have children, so there's nobody left to take over of the managerial class, you see. This time they actually pay the managerial class to have children. Doesn't matter if they're married or not, just have a child, and they get trained in special schools, like the United Nations. The ones in the United Nations have their own schools for UN children that are the offspring of people at the United Nations. That they actually breed them there. No kidding. And they have another one for the ones running the European Union, for all the bureaucrats. It's just astonishing. You see, all democracy in your government is just, as I say, all it is now is the rubber stamp from all the big think tanks and foundations that run the world. That's really what it is. And as it dehumanized society in all kinds and ways until it cannot stand, because that's when you destroy nationalism and then you're international. I've already talked about how they hang people on, they actually were people who are dead now, hang them on wires, plasticize them,